Okay, this is Easter Sunday afternoon. Just want to talk a little bit about my plans. Particularly, there's an idea that I could produce a documentary about fundamental rights. You know, I've basically presented 4 treatments of them. One of them is in the second of the Do As Do Tell books, in the chapter on a Bill of Rights 2. One of them is in a card stack I developed in 2014, where I'm talking about how one should live if one is different, which is a theme of the Do As Do Tell book 3. Then there is in 2016 a sort of a Do As Do Tell 4 series of posts that again more or less go through the responsibilities that one would have if one wants to live freely in the kind of society we have as ours, in a moral fashion, with respect to some of the more some of the more indirect things that come up. And then the last thing I would mention is another card stack that dates back to the late 90s. It's on my Do As Do Tell site, of different categories of rights. That's sort of another set. So I could put all these 3 together and come up with some sort of a film. I know I've talked about this before in videos back in November and December, so I was looking at it again yesterday. Who is this for? Well, I could say it was for me. I am someone who was a good student, but not very good at sports, and sometimes perceived by some people as physically lazy, as not willing to share the risks that others have to share. There's a word for that that's not very nice anymore. The word used to be sissy. We don't use that word very much anymore. In the 50s, when I was growing up, it was more that was what people thought a homosexual was. And of course, we found out that was a stereotype. Most gay men are as good at athletics as the straight population, or as good at mechanical things. And even in the non-binary community or the trans community, some people in that community are quite good at physical things, which again breaks all the stereotypes. But that's actually how it actually is. So someone who thinks he's special somehow, someone who outflanks the system, particularly the tribal system, this idea of having to establish yourself in a tribal hierarchy and then work through work your life out in relation to other people, first in your family or in a local community, and then on a higher level when the community you belong to gets into conflict with other communities. So that gets into politics, that gets into tribalism and politics, and the kinds of things that drive history. I would say that what I want is a set of principles for people, of rights, and then the responsibilities, because rights generate responsibilities for others, and we found that out with the pandemics, certainly, and with other things that have happened in the past, the draft, conscription, student deferments, all kinds of things. What you should expect and how prepared you should be for things to change, for things to change very radically. And that's an idea that has, of course, happened recently. So that was my thought for Easter Sunday.